right, good morning. What a Thursday morning. I mean, a very celebratory morning. Oh, Wednesday. Wednesday. Mimi nishamaliza wiki. 10 days to Valentine's. Lakini as an Arsenal fan, hey, what a better day. I'm telling you, ule cameraman ako nyuma ya hii camera anaumia. I can see the pain, but on this side, celebrations. Karibu sana. This is the Morning Cafe. Arsenal wameingia finali ya Carabao Cup.
Na usiku kama hii ndio Emmanuel Inonda nafaa kwa studio.
Angekuja.
Asikie hiyo pain venye sisi pia tunasikia.
Tungefinya unafinya. Anyway, kuna watu wamepoteza kazi wengi sana jana usiku. That is part of the stories we'll be looking at. Plus, there are those who stand to lose their jobs come next year during the elections.
Absolutely. Happy Hump Day. This is Morning Cafe. My name is Anno Dida. It's World Cancer Day today. Of course, it's champions for vaccination. Chukua HPV vaccine. Wanasema huko online HPV ni mbaya, lakini don't listen to them. Take that vaccine.
All right. So as I said, big question. Will you re-elect your MP come next year? Kuna watu watapoteza kazi. Will you re-elect your MP, your area MP next year? Then point out the specific areas where you feel he or she has not delivered projects, legislation, or representation that make him or her undeserving of another term. Lakini kama unataka ku-re-elect MP wako pia ni sawa, unaweza sema mimi nitamu-re-elect.
Yes.
Make sure you use the hashtag #MorningCafeTV47 on our socials.
I'll see you TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube on X, TV47 Digital, and you can tag us at @_Dida. Na wewe?
Mimi @FredIndimuli on X. Remember the hashtag MorningCafeTV47.
56% of them will not go back to parliament.
Ni ukweli, do you believe that your MP is among the 56% who will not go back to parliament?
Wewe, una wako?
Wangu atarudi. Ndakushoni nani? Wangu atarudi.
I hope mine asione hata mlango ya parliament.
Right, we're also asking another question, 10 days to Valentine's.
Absolutely. Kuoga kurudi soko, is it healing or a desperate comeback tour? Unataka kuumiza ex ukirudi soko?
That's the only way. You don't go sit in a corner, start crying.
No, so you work on yourself.
That's just me.
Ushairudi soko?
Mimi? Oh, like no one's business.
For real? How long does it take you?
It did not even take hours.
Well,
hit the shower and you're back.
Anasema replacement anakuanga hapo.
Oh, shower irudi soko.
Hakuna time ya kwenda soko. Ako hapo tu.
Oh, you're still mourning.
You grab.
Unalia tu.
Hiyo si soko kwa zako hapo. Let's take a look at the local dailies now. The Standard, Uhuru revives Azimio. Na wako hapa mbele the new leadership.
This one, jana ilikuwa Uhuru sijui amefanya handshake na nani. Sasa revive Azimio. Uhuru ako kwa headlines 2 days in a row.
People Daily, Parliament versus Cabinet when the House comes down on the executive.
Now this is a big one. Someone lost his job. How IEBC boss fate was sealed. That's a Daily Nation.
The Star Ethicon kicks Marjan out of IEBC in major shake-up.
Now this will definitely be our big discussion this morning. IEBC kunaendaje? Alafu, back to that Azimio vibe. Kalonzo achukua kiti cha Raila wapi? Kileleni kwenye Azimio. Taifa Leo.
Finally, Business Daily, how payslips will change in Mbadi's tax cuts plan. This month, kama una earn 108,000 Kenyan shillings upwards.
Usihesabu hiyo pesa yote umezoea kuhesabu. Utapata ni nusu. All right. So for our discussion today, we'll be having 2 MPs and 2 aspiring MPs. James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North, Kathy Rungu, who at one time vied for MP Madera. She's still hoping that she can do that again. Fanyamambo Kinothia, at one point he vied for Dagoretti South. He's hoping he can do that again. He was a member of the Azimio party. So it will be a very interesting discussion. Tukiuliza je, watarudi ama watakuwa replaced na wengine. State of the Nation at 6:30.
Later on that conversation on kuoga na kurudi soko, I'll be having this lovely gentlemen and ladies, of course, to talk about healing or a desperate comeback tour. Hawa narudingi soko ama pia replacement akutua hapo. Anangoja.
I tell you. Same conversation, Dr. Julius Kimani, a counselor, will be helping us break it down. Wala wanatupatia opinion, we wanatupatia ile professional side.
Absolutely.
All right. Tuvuke boda tuingie Uganda, tujue ni nani amepoteza kazi huko. Naona kazi ni kupoteza kazi. Haya. High-flying airline CEO runs out of runway, and I like the way they've put it here on the Daily Monitor. Career crash lands. Miss Jennifer Bamuturaki has called time on a turbulent 4-year tenure at the helm of Uganda Airlines, the national carrier plagued by losses kama tu ile ya huku kwetu. Among other challenges. Hata hiyo matatu yao ya hewani pia inakuanga na shida kama hii yetu. So that's a big story there, and I think the biggest discussion point, watu wametoka kwa elections, waka move on, even after the education headlines that we saw the last 2 days. Other headlines here, Museveni lines up 6 witnesses to defend Paul win in court. Remember, bado hiyo kesi iko kotini, hajapishwa bado, takaka. Why inmates posted better results in PLE. Education imeenda sasa kwa wafungwa, walijaribu, kafanya vizuri. All right, so that's the Daily Monitor. Kuna mtu mwingine karibu apoteze kazi. Mao eyes Among's speaker job.
Yes.
Akicheza huyo Anita Among will be among people who will lose their jobs. That's the Daily Monitor.
That's the main story in the front page of the New Vision. Speaker race, Mao versus Among. Tayebwa faces Basaja for deputy speaker. Now he's here. He's eyeing Among's seat.
Akicheza Among will be among losers.
Regional leaders meet to discuss DRC peace process. They're all here. The front page, and former president is also here. That is Uhuru Kenyatta. Tunaona yule wa Uganda pia. Mbona huyo anakaa
ule former wa Nigeria, Obasanjo. Ule mwenye lisemekana ndio ana broker deal between
Kalonzo na
Gachagua and
Uhuru. Yes.
So watasema Museveni yako kwa hiyo deal pia.
All right, government earmarks 2.2 trillion shillings for districts. That's another story there. Why Museveni ordered sacking of Uganda airline CEO.
Kwa hivyo yeye ndo alimfuta.
Yes, ndio huyu hapa. Anaitwa Jennifer Bamutaraki.
Kumbe ni president alisema tu hiyo mtu hapo.
Harvest Money 2026 Expo launch. That's the New Vision.
All right. Tukitoka kule Uganda tunaingia Tanzania. Trump ako kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la The Citizen. Deportation paradox hits Tanzanians in US. Over the past 1 year, relentless and systemic escalation of immigration enforcement has fundamentally reshaped the landscape of daily life for Tanzanians and broader immigrant communities. So wale wanaitwa ICE. I'm sure you must have heard about ICE. Hata Tanzanians wanasikia pale wamesukumwa kiasi. Kenyans have received relatively better treatment in the US. We are not seeing as much deportations of Kenyans, but Tanzania na wengine wanaumia.
Tunajua who to play with.
The percentage of non-criminal detainees currently in immigration detention in the Trump administration accelerates its enforcement agenda. Other stories, why smartphones may become more expensive in 2026. That's in Tanzania. In Kenya, I think they're even becoming cheaper. Yeah. And MPs push for independent oversight to anchor Vision 2050. Meanwhile, Samia engages in crucial UAE meetings. Anatafuta marafiki wengine. US wakikata, wale Waarabu wa Dubai watakubali. That's a Citizen.
Tukisalia kule Bongo, gazeti la Mwananchi, koti ya amuru waziri wenzake walipe shilingi bilioni 3. Imo pia manispaa ya Kinondoni kwa kubomoa isivyo halali nyumba ya kifahari Mbezi. Hiyo ni habari nyingine. I don't think it's the same one, but the one that speaks about waziri na wenzake walipe shilingi bilioni 3 inasema kwamba tarehe ya mwaka 2024, that is February 29th, ambapo nyumba iliyopo eneo la Mbezi Beach ilibomolewa kwa amri ya serikali baada ya kuwepo kwa mgogoro wa umiliki wake. Sasa inasema kwamba aliyekuwa waziri wa ardhi, nyumba na maendeleo ya makazi Jerry Sila, manispaa ya Kinondoni na Naomi Raymond Kwayu wameamriwa na mahakama kulipa fidia ya shilingi bilioni hiyo.
I remember back in the day when they were making these bypasses and interlinking roads within Nairobi, and the roads minister then was Franklin Betts. Na walibomoa manyumba mingi, alafu eventually pia walipelekwa kotini by those people who owned those houses. Wakasemekana walitubomolea nyumba, lakini wale, I don't think they were ordered to pay any money.
Now this is Tanzania. It's the main story here on the front page of gazeti la Mwananchi. Vidokeza zaidi, mustakabali wa ODM bila Odinga ikipitia majanga.
ODM imejipata kwa ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la Kitanzania. Ile shida wako nayo mpaka Watanzania wasema ODM itasurvive kweli.
Pigo sekta ya usafirishaji ikipoteza vinara wake ni habari nyingine hapo. Kule juu wabunge waibua maumivu miradi kutokamilika, habari kutoka bungeni.
Okay, haya ndo magazeti ya kanda ya East Africa, na tutarejelea kuangalia magazeti ya humu nchini kwa kina muda usiokuwa mrefu. Kwa sasa tuangazie hali ya anga. We've been witnessing a lot of warm weather. I don't know if it still will continue. We start off Central Rift Valley today, which is a bit cooler this morning. But this is not, no, we're starting in Homa Bay. That's the Lake Victoria region.
Yeah.
It's a bit warm this morning, 19 degrees. Not so bad, highs of 29 degrees, mostly cloudy. A bit of precipitation, kidogo, nothing much there, but it looks like Homa Bay is cooling down now. Yes. Finally, it's cooling off.
All right, tuende Kilifi. Homa Bay is actually cooling down because the weatherman said areas around the Lake Victoria Basin will experience some cooling.
This is Kilifi as well.
Oh,
Kilifi also is experiencing some cooling as well.
25 degrees in Kilifi this morning, feels like 27. It's a partly cloudy day. Highs of 30 degrees and precipitation is 5%. So from tomorrow, it goes down to 29 degrees.
Okay. Turkana is not cooling down anytime soon, I can tell you for sure. It's currently 26 degrees, which is quite warm, and feels like 27. Clear skies. Hakuna chance ya precipitation kule. It's dry weather. Highs of 36 degrees in Turkana. Uko. And even for the rest of the week, it's not dropping. 36, in fact, it will go up to 37 by next week. So if at all you're looking for that kind of weather, Turkana is your place.
All right, Meru, 13 degrees this morning, clear skies today. Highs of 24 degrees, precipitation nothing. But on Friday, it's likely to rain in Meru.
You can actually see in Meru that it's cooling off completely. 23 today, 22 by Friday, and that's the coolest we'll see across board. Because even in Machakos, Machakos today looks like it's going to be cooler than what we saw yesterday and the day before among all the 3 or 4 counties of Ukambani. Today it's mostly cloudy, currently 15 degrees. As high, it'll only get as high as 28 degrees, which is comfortable weather. It's what we've been experiencing in Nairobi. So Machakos, hakuna joto sana. In fact, by the weekend, it will be dropping down to 27. So generally cooling off across the nation. Central Rift Valley.
Nakuru, 12 degrees, clear skies with periodic clouds today. Highs of 27 degrees, hot, precipitation 0.
So hakuna mvua, lakini temperature ni kama ina cool off. Tuangalie Nairobi kama we are getting cooler temperatures. Not really. It's 16 degrees, clear skies with periodic clouds, highs of 29, which is what we've seen. Tomorrow it will start cooling off, but 29 is the average this entire week. It's quite hot. Ukitoka kwa afternoon hivi uende nje, utasikia kijoto. So that's the weather forecast. Let's take a look at quick traffic update. We saw that yesterday and the day before, the Thika Road was experiencing some trouble because especially of the Matatu strike. This has changed, but you can see trouble spots along that road. There's a section just before you get to Kasarani. After you leave Githurai, so sections of Thika Road appear problematic. Let me just point out for you briefly. Na ni kama hii pia iko na traffic problem hii system hapa ya traffic, all right? So this section here, after Githurai, before you get to Kasarani, there's a long stretch of red there. Another trouble spot is at Allsops. Pale Outer Ring Road joins Thika Superhighway. There's a long stretch of red that goes up to KCA University, meaning that traffic is being held up kule juu. The other problem, pale Kawaida, pale Pangani interchange. But other than that, most other roads are looking good this morning. So Thika Road tundo kuna shida. Kiambu Road is looking green. Outer Ring Road, nothing to report there. Jogoo Road, apart from the usual trouble spots, nothing out of the ordinary. Pale town pia tunaona it's comfortable traffic today, not so bad. Hapa ni wapi naona kuna nini? State House kuna shida pale. Along Dennis Pritt Road, pale State House, kwa ile main gate ya State House, there's a lot of traffic there this morning. If you can avoid that, the better for you. Mombasa Road, Waiyaki and Ngong Road are green all the way to the CBD.
All right, that's the traffic situation. 13 minutes past 6 a.m. Let's have the quote of the day.
True growth and discovery happen when we embrace the unknown. It's only by stepping outside of our comfort zones that we open the door to greater possibilities.
All right, Azimio is back. Uhuru revives Azimio as a big headline on the front page of the Standard. Eyes on 2027 in a dramatic meeting. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta jolted the Azimio coalition with sweeping leadership changes, sidelining Minority Leader Junet Mohamed, who had a very high rank in Azimio, and elevating Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka. The move signals a re-energized coalition, tightening ranks ahead of next year's elections. Observers say the shake-up marks Uhuru's return to frontline politics, laying the groundwork for a high-stakes showdown with President William Ruto. The story is in page 4, and people are asking, what exactly is Uhuru doing? You saw what he did with his own party, Jubilee Party. Last week they changed a few. They elected, actually appointed a new Secretary General. So Jeremiah Kioni is no longer Secretary General. I think he's a deputy party leader or something like that. Now you see, now he's going for Azimio. Yeah? He was a patron for Azimio. Now he's reviving it, removing anyone from ODM who had a high rank and now elevating other people there. This is a question. Will Azimio be Azimio without ODM? So that's the main story on page 4 of this paper. Page 5 also talks about Marjan, Hussein Marjan, the sasa ni former IEBC Chief Executive Officer. Alipoteza kazi, ilibidi resign. This was announced after a crisis meeting with commissioners that questioned his integrity, procurement decisions, and continued stay in office. But every other CEO of IEBC, 2 before him, have had to be forced out. Ezra Chiloba. Ule mwingine alikuwa anaitwa nani? Osogo. Yes. 2 of them have had to go. Same way. Hiyo kazi, kuna ile kazi unaambiwa ukichukua hiyo kazi, jitayarishe kwenda nyumbani. That story about the CBK warning, the central bank warning, about kutumia currency notes kutengeneza maua is on page 3.
Hiyo imekufurahisha?
Hiyo page 3. Hiyo maneno yenyu muache. Yeah, CBK warning hits a sour note for Lovers Day. Hii imesaidia boy child sana.
Walisema wataanza kutumia dollars.
Hata dollars kwanza hiyo ndo mtakimbizwa sana. All right. Other stories, court bars Ruto's advisors again upholding sacking at salary rate. That is on page 6. Ile group ya kina David Ndii, akina Boynet, Monica Juma, all those advisors, yenye court walisema the appointment was not procedural. Sasa wakaenda kuapili, wameambiwa tuliwaambia it is not procedural, we are not changing. So those are the main stories on the Standard. On the back page, we talk about matters sports. Another quiet deadline day, not worth fighting for. This is an EPL transfer window that's coming to an end. I think imeisha sasa. Na watu wamehama kama ule Antoine Semenyo alienda Man City. Nani mwingine naona hapa? Wengine tu wameenda lakini hatuwajui. Either way, Arsenal walifika final ya Carabao Cup jana.
Team kubwa.
That's the Standard.
All right. People Daily. Parliament versus Cabinet, grilling and session when the House comes down on the executive. Now, everyone here on the front page, kuna Opio Wandai, Edin Duwali, Rebecca Miano, Alfred Mutua, and John Badi pia kwa hapo, we were Treasury, and of course Migos Ogamba. Grilling inaendelea hapo. These are the ministries and CSs who found themselves being grilled. Of course, Migos Ogamba because of education and the kind of problems that have been there. Treasury CS, huyu wa SHA, health, lazima angeulizwa. Tourism ndo sielewi kwa nini sana alikuwa nasumbuliwa. Lakini huyu wa labor, Alfred Mutua, remember the scandal about jobs abroad. So he had to be grilled a lot about that. I'm trying to open this story tuone ndani wanasema vipi exactly. Why... Now hajatuwekea page today. When the House comes down on the executive. Anyway, tutarudia hapo kuangalia zaidi. It's here. As MPs inch closer to next year's polls, they have turned the heat up with intense interrogations where they demand accountability and implementation of policy decisions. Tumeuliza Rebecca Miano anafanya nini hapo, lakini tutakuja kuambia hapo kesho. Beyond politics, will Ida Odinga deliver for Kenyans at UNEP? Is a question they're asking on page 7. Kule juu, Maraga, Mwangi and Omtata step up presidential bids. This is Boniface Mwangi. That's the People Daily, People and Politics.
All right, the big one is on the front page of the Daily Nation. What's happening to this IEBC? And this paper is light today. Kidogo sana. I think it only has about how many pages? 28 pages. This is interesting. So how IEBC boss fate was sealed. Exit. Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chief Executive Marjan Hussein Marjan, whose 5 years contract was due to lapse in March next year, with an option for renewal, left office prematurely last night following a crisis meeting of commissioners. Is the handling of the 2027 poll preparations behind his abrupt departure? So many questions. Will this affect preparations for next year's elections? And they also say that it's a revolving door for people who occupy this job, because 2 previous chief executives of the Electoral Commission were also fired. So let's open that story on pages 4 and 5. Tuone kunaenda namna gani. Less than a week after opposition leaders demanded his removal. Yes, walienda wakasema jamaa hatupeleki vizuri, imebidi atolewe. So could this change the game? The move announced in the evening brings a swift end to Marjan's tenure, with 399 days remaining on his contract, 1 year, 1 month and 6 days. But he's not the only one who has been removed. Ukiwa kwa hiyo kazi, au wengine kama, I think nani ilikuwa kubwa sana, Ezra Chiloba. That one, I think we overplayed it. It was such a big deal. But even before him, another person was removed. And it was, I think, Osogo. Yes. So Marjan sent parking is a big story there on the Daily Nation. Other stories, developers make millions from cheated home buyers. Now, hundreds of Kenyans, particularly those living abroad, are paying millions of shillings to real estate developers hoping to secure their dream homes or grow their investments, only to end up with empty thickets and protracted legal battles. Na kuna watu wanaendesha magari makubwa wakitumia hizo fedha zenu. So that's the other big story. Shortage of condoms and birth control pills hits public hospitals is a big one. That story is on page 8. Kuna shortage, and they attribute this shortage of condoms and birth control pills to the fact that USAID is no longer existent, the withdrawal of that kind of funding. So mahospitali mengi yameshindwa kustock up. The other story, na kama tumeona kwa Standard on page 3, CBK rains on lovers parade with warning against cash bouquets. Ukipatikana, usiseme huko wameambiwa. All right, so those are the main stories on the back page. Women rugby sevens. Lionesses star Okello brings international experience to her side as it eyes glory on home soil. We are ready for the show of our lives, stars vow. All right, that's the women rugby team. That's the Daily Nation.
All right, now this story, again, Rebecca Miano is being grilled over the decision by her ministry to facelift Bomas. Okay. 4.5 billion shillings without Parliament's approval.
I get it.
That's what the story is about. Kisonga mbele, the star Ethicon kicks Marjan out of IEBC in major shakeup. Team cites a breakdown in working relations. We've talked about this story. It's been covered on almost all the pages today. It's on page 4 and page 5. Ex-KDF pilot among Kenyans recruited by Russia in Ukraine war is another story here on the front page. Na yuko hapa mbele, nasema against their will, Clinton Mogesa, a Kenyan who was recruited to Russia while he was in Qatar, a Kenyan only identified as Evans, was captured by Ukrainian forces, and David Kuloba and a Russian fighter at the battlefront in Ukraine. So these are 3 different people who are taken to the war front without, their will.
Right. We did a special story here in TV47 yesterday about a family that was informed that their kin had died. Na walijua tu sababu mtu aliposta ambie huyu alidai. Huyu ni kama ashaenda.
Blood clot in lung killed assaulted Umoja gym trainer. That's the story on page 3. Kule juu, disabled women still locked out of sexual health care as they speak up.
All right.
That's the star.
Fresh, independent, different. You can grab a copy with only 60 shillings. Tunarejelea ile habari ya Azimio. Kalonzo achukua kiti cha Raila. Kinara wa Wiper ateuliwa kuongoza Azimio katika kikao kilichoongozwa na Uhuru Kenyatta. Rais mstaafu Uhuru Kenyatta amechukua hatua za kurejesha udhibiti wake katika upinzani kwa kumteua Kalonzo Musyoka kuwa kiongozi mpya wa muungano wa Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition, kujaza nafasi iliyokuwa ikishikiliwa na aliyekuwa waziri mkuu hayati Raila Odinga. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa 2. Je, Uhuru Kenyatta ana mipango gani? Anataka nini? Kilio hospitali zikikataa bima ya SHA ni habari nyingine kwenye vidokezo pale. Ramadhan Kwaresma kuanza pamoja. Wakristo wataanza kipindi cha Kwaresma Jumatano, Waislamu wakianza Ramadhan siku hiyo hiyo. Okay. Iran yaipa US masharti makali ni habari nyingine pale chini, lakini kule juu amri serikali inunue mchele kwa lazima. Koti ya amuru serikali kununua mchele wote unaozalishwa nchini kutoka kwa wakulima kabla ya kuruhusu uagizaji kutoka nje. Na masuala ya spoti, City hawana pressure Carabao leo, wanahitaji sare watapokutana na mabingwa watetezi Newcastle. Atakayeshinda mechi hii atakutana Wembley na the mighty Arsenal. Wale wanyonge wa Chelsea walirudi nyumbani wakilia. Niliona walikuwa nalia hivi kwikwi.
Finally, Business Daily, how payslips will change in Mbadi's tax cuts plan, and salaried workers earning below 50,000 Kenyan shillings monthly are set to enjoy income tax cuts of between 731 shillings and 2,127 shillings, under proposed changes to the taxation brackets aimed at boosting the disposable income of low-earning workers. Now, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says his ministry has prepared a tax laws amendment bill that will raise the threshold of untaxed income from 24,000 shillings to 30,000 shillings and have income falling between 30,000 Kenyan shillings and 50,000 Kenyan shillings taxed at 25%. That's a win. Now, income above 32,333 attract a tax rate of between 30 and 35% currently. Proposed pay year cuts, 30,000 Kenyan shillings, change on your pay slip will just be 731 shillings, 35,000 shillings, 1,500, 40,000, 1,678, 45,000, 1,902, and 50,000, 2,127. That is for salaried workers earning below 50,000. Other quick headlines here. This is a different one from the NSSF, which is also set to take effect this month. Court backs carries push to tax unexplained bank deposits. Another story on page 2. And the ticker, Uganda, Tanzania profit from Kenya sugar plant closures, and a temporary pause on sugar milling in Western Kenya last year handed a windfall to factories in neighboring Uganda and Tanzania as traders turned to the regional market to fill a supply gap. Cooling inflation boosts Safaricom Ethiopia unit, and developers pose new projects for 2026. And that's the Business Daily. All
right, so those are the local dailies that we'll be looking at with this panel. James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, Beatrice Selachi, MP Dagoretti North, and Kathy Rungu, governance expert, also an aspiring MP. Fanyamambo Kinothia, who's a lawyer and also an aspiring member of the National Assembly. I want to sample some of your feedback before we even take a look at the cartoons. An advisor, Pastor Emmanuel Barasa Manu, says, Sitila Bungoma, saini kwa Kitengela, nafuatilia magazeti. Chelsea walidhani Arsenal rahisi. Only Manchester United can do it. Hata Manchester United hawawezi. Advisor skiza hiyo neno. Ndegwa wa Nyandarua, Nyamatamu Products and Butchery.
Wacha wewe.
Balozi Eric Meja, tuende nalo polepole, Seregea already locked.
Cristiano Michael, following from Makadara, Nairobi, hapo Dennis Street Road, watu wanaenda State House kupewa tokens. Kasema quote and quote aspirants. Huyu Jacob Singelebi umemtaja kweli. Anasema watching live from Congo Stage, Nairobi County. Thank you so much for watching. Shoshoa Gen Z. Hi to you too. Anasema hi Fred. Hi Anne, watching from Gilgil. Now continue interacting with us. But so far, being a Wednesday, we talk matters of the heart. Kuoga kurudi soko, healing or desperate comeback tour is a question you're asking. This lovely panel will be here alongside Councillor Dr. Julius Kimani for us to have this conversation later on. Tuangalie cartoonist wanasema vipi?
Wachoraji wanatueleza nini? Tunaanza na the cartoon of the people daily today. Kuna watu wawili wamefungwa kwenye chini ya mti. Mmoja ni education sector, mwingine ni health sector. Wanaulizana, kunaendaje? This is gross. The government has forgotten about us. So according to this cartoonist, the government has totally forgotten two key sectors of this economy and society. That's education and health. Stano's take.
All right. The star, there are three people here. Of course, the president, the deputy president, na party leader ODM. Amefinyilia mtu hapo katikati akisema we don't want to be in your position, lakini amefinyiliwa sana.
I love this take sababu alikuwa anasema usijali, we are not coming for your position. Kwa hivyo ni kumwambia tutaki your position yako. Ama we would not want to be in your current position right now. Tunajua ni ngumu.
Wow. All right, that's the star.
All right, this is a Daily Nation, and he talks about that court ruling on the president's advisors. So they had appealed against a court ruling that declared the appointments irregular and illegal, so wakaenda kotini. Wameambiwa tulisema, the law is very clear, rudi huko chini, tulikuambia nini? It is illegal. Kenya Kwanza advisors, David Ndi Kwanza, hii rungu inakaa tu kupima hapo.
Finally, standard. Employers versus government and NSSF, new rates. You squeeze, I squeeze. Huyo ni employer. Employer anasema the government ana squeeze.
Serikali inafinya employer. Employer anasema tu kazi yangu ni rahisi, nitafinya tu huyu mwingine.
Absolutely.
All right. I remember we are asking a question, a very interesting question today, on whether or not you will seek to re-elect your MP come 2027. Remember, the Speaker of the National Assembly during that retreat last week said that only 56%, no, actually, up to 56% of the current members of the National Assembly will not make it back in Parliament. Yes, and today we'll be having 2 members of Parliament in studio and 2 aspiring members of Parliament. As Fanyamambo Kinodhia, karibu sana wakili, and we do have Kathy Rungu, also an aspiring member of Parliament, and a sitting member of Parliament, Embakasi North, Bazenga, James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North. We're hoping that Beatrice Salachi, MP Dagoretti North, will be joining us as well. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. We're asking, will your voters be seeking to re-elect you, and why? Yes, and or will they be seeking to replace you with the aspiring people? Remember, today at State House Nairobi, a lot is happening. Thousands of aspirants who are hoping to run for office using the UDA party tickets will be there for a meeting with the president today.
All right, let's get some feedback regarding that question. Are they electing the MPs back? Ama wanawatume nyumbani? As we wait for that, do we have them? Question of the day, will you re-elect your area member of parliament? Point out the specific areas where you feel he or she has not delivered projects, legislation or representation that make him or her and deserving of another term. Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47 as you comment. Ezra Tonui anasema Honorable Sigei 2-term. He has delivered about 95% of what he had promised. All right. Let's get another one here. Senator Mtetezi anasema 1-term Eldama Ravine Musa Sirma. I can't tag him because he blocked me. Wewe una harass kiongozi hapo. Let's have another one. Moses Mwema Nyamasayo anasema 002 Kwale County, Mutuga Sub-County. Utanisamehe my MP, in fact wewe ulipita na chama ya Musalia na kiliuzwa.
Hata ana chama kiliuzwa.
Liambiwa rudi huko. Joseph Boke anasema Honorable Kitayama Maisori, Kuria East, 3rd term loading. He is a performer. All right, that is Kuria East. This is Karis anasema Charity Kadhambi Chepwony, MP. So unajua ni home. Huyo ni Karis amekuambia hivyo. All right, let's have another one. Ama that's all? All right. Some more here. Bill James Eteni anasema Christopher Aseka Wangaya. This man needs more than 5 times in Huisero. Super MP, the best MP ever. That is Christopher Aseka Wangaya.
Thank you so much for your feedback.
Keep interacting with us. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X, TV47 Digital. Tag us at @N_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
My handle on X is @Freddy Ndimuli.
See you after the break.
Oh, yes.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Farika tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Farika is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasukuma. CP unit ni
Punet. So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema that don't give you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday. Every Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Only on Morning Cafe.
All right, good morning, Kenya. Good morning once again. This is Morning Cafe on TV47. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. This morning we're asking, would you re-elect your current Member of Parliament come 2027? Continue giving us your feedback. Remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47 on all our social media pages, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. It is TV47 Digital on X. You can tag me as well. My handle on X is at Freddy Ndimuli. Well, that's a big conversation, and we'll be engaging my panelists on that as we continue, especially with regard to your feedback. So it will be important that you engage with us. But the big story this morning is about how IEBC boss fate was sealed. Hussein Marjan is no longer IEBC Secretariat CEO. And this is the main story on the front page of the Daily Nation. It is also the big story on the front page of the Star. Let's see how TV47 covered that piece of news before I even introduce my panelists this morning. So Ethicon kicks Marjan out of IEBC in major shakeup. This is how it's read on the Star. And remember, this is just the third of IEBC Secretariat CEOs to leave office in a not so honorable manner. Of course, James Oswago was forced out, and a cloud of accusations with regard to procurement issues. Ezra Chiloba, after that, was also forced out. Similar accusations, and now Marjan, Hussein Marjan. And even him, there are questions about procurement as well as we get ready for the 2027 elections. Do we have that story? All right. Allow me to introduce my panelists this morning. Fanyamambo Kinodhia, who's a lawyer and also aspiring Member of Parliament. Last time you were a member of Azimio. And Azimio is back. He'll be telling us more about that. Karibu sana, Wakili.
Thank you.
Kathy Rongo, also an aspiring Member of Parliament and a political commentator. Karibu sana.
Asante.
James Gakuya, MP Embakasi North, serving his third or fourth term, Bwana Gakuya?
Third term.
Third term in office. And we're asking people if they're going to re-elect you again, whichever position you'll be seeking, 2027. So these are the conversations, but we want to start with that new piece of news from the IEBC. Both the positions we've seen previously, even the IEBC chairperson's position has been a revolving door. Now we're seeing that the CEO's position too is a revolving door. But this time round, it is more concerning that it is 18 months to election time, and Marjan Hussein Marjan has been very much involved in preparations for the 2027 elections. Do you think this exit by the CEO will in any way, Fanyamambo Kinodhia, affect the elections next year?
Thank you. I think to start with, we need to understand what is the role of the CEO of IEBC. The first one is that he is the accounting officer. So now we have a situation where the accounting officer is not in office, and they've put in someone in acting capacity. He's the head of the secretariat. We have a secretariat at IEBC that is supposed to lead the most important thing, which is the mass voter registration that they had said is starting soon. The person heading the secretariat that will help us have mass voter registration is out of office. He's in charge of administration and staffing. Now, this is a time when IEBC needs to start asking itself, for example, who are we going to have where? Who are the returning officers, and so on and so forth. These are things we need to start having conversations about. The person in charge of staffing and administration is out of office. He's the custodian of records. A lot of things have happened at IEBC. He's the one who knows what is kept where. File gani iko wapi, imeandikwa nini na inahusu nini. Now the person who is the custodian of those records is not in office. Finally, he's the person who accounts to Parliament. He's the person who goes to Parliament and answers more questions than even the chairman of IEBC. So now, this person who is supposed to be answering to Parliament is not in office. So will the elections 2027 be affected? Your guess is as good as mine.
Wow. He was also very much involved in procuring for the kind of equipment that we're going to use for the next elections, even the smartmatics that people have been talking about. Members of the United Opposition also called for his exit because of questions about preparations for next year's election. Do you think, in a way, Kathy, this could boost confidence in the IEBC?
I think we need to look at IEBC as an institution. Marjan was just a CEO, and yes, a lot was, he had a lot of work, or he had very clear roles that he's been doing, including in the past general election of 2022. And you remember which side he was during the Charera 4. And therefore, you can't have your cake and eat it. I mean, the opposition has been saying that he needs to exit office. Now that he has exited, I think let's appreciate that he's out now, and therefore we can have a new person to take charge from where we are. You know, when you look at IEBC as an institution, and without looking at Marjan as someone who will now live with everything IEBC, then you start appreciating that there's time to recruit a new IEBC CEO who is going to have very clear mandates, and his work is clear set, even within the constitution and the laws that govern elections in this country. So I think we need to be optimistic. If he has exited, and I believe there were a very good reason as to why the key people in the institution met and agreed, because from what I see, there must have been very good reasons, almost acrimonious, going by what we are reading in the papers, and his exit is good for the institution.
But this is not new, Bwana Gakuya. We've seen, and you've been in those electoral cycles where James Oswago was the CEO of IEBC and his relationship with the chairperson then. Then we saw Ezra Chiloba come in, same position, with a very strained relationship with the chairperson of the commission. Now we're seeing a third CEO of the same organization still having strained with a commission that is not even a year old, they're only months old. Does it speak to the kind of structural failure of that organization, that the Secretariat and the Commission have a very difficult working relationship?
Thank you, Dimuri. Allow me to salute viewers wherever they're watching this morning show. And coming to the matter, designation of the IEBC chief officer. One, I would like to say on the onset that there is a lot of interest in that whole saga of IEBC. Note that they control a lot of money, and therefore big cuts are allowed that secretariat, because in terms of tendering, it is the secretariat who does that particular job. And the commissioners are only directors, but the secretariat is headed by the CEO, and therefore having those other previous CEO facing the same knife, I would say that in fact it is out of those interests, and every single person, assuming that we have new commission there, even the commission taking various number of complaints from the public, from the political parties. My take is that it is the right time for Marjan to move from the office. And as we construct a new CEO, we should not worry that he is the only man with what we call the whole setup of the factory. Don't think that there is any hidden file that you require to seek Marjan from his retirement to come to bring it to the table. Everything currently is being computerized, and therefore it's very easy to have what you call hard copies and soft copies. And therefore I don't think this will be a big tall order for a new CEO to pick up. I think even the timing and the timelines of new registration will not be an issue, because as much as the CEO is the key, is the pilot, he does not work alone. He works with a team, and the team is still in the office, and therefore it will make even the next successor, the succession, to be easy to pick up from.
What about the relationship that these people have, the Secretariat and the Commission? Because we've seen that historically they've always been problems that have led to the exit of the CEO. Now, what does it do to the level of confidence?
I can tell you, first and foremost, it is interest.
The level of confidence that Kenyans have or don't have on the IEBC. Watching this happening right now, 18 months to election, what does it do to the national psyche?
In fact, to the rest of the nation. The exit of Marjan will also give a new face in that particular office. Actually, it's a long overdue. Okay. That fellow should have left a long time ago.
Bwana Fanyamambo, you're a lawyer, probably even aspire to be a commissioner of the IEBC, occupy such positions. Is this a job you would go for, IEBC CEO, given the kind of history we've seen?
I don't want to lose my hair. The bulk of the people who became IEBC commissioners ended up being bald-headed, and their lives have become very miserable thereafter. I don't think it's one of those jobs I would dream of in my lifetime, and not even for my children right now, because Kenyans have made elections a very emotive issue. I keep saying, I was in Europe some time back when we had an election, and you wouldn't even think there's an election going on. I mean, every other person will just go cast their ballot and go on with their lives. Here, elections are life and death. Here, elections are everything. It's 2026. Anybody coming into this country would think that the election is tomorrow morning. Whereas in the US, 6 months to an election, there is nothing much going on. In fact, campaigns begin like 3-4 months to the election. And immediately after the elections, Americans go back to work. I think there's a lot that we need to do as a country beyond this CBC that we are doing. We start doing what people like the Germans did. They started now inculcating certain morals in our children from when they are young. You know, this is what a Kenyan can do, this is what a Kenyan cannot do. And that's why when you go to some of these places, you find people, kama mataa ni red, even if there is nobody, they will wait until it's green. And these are the things we need to start doing, because that's the same thing that has affected them positively, that you can vote via mail. You look at their ballots, they don't even have security features. In this country, we spend more money on security features than even having the ballots themselves. And it costs about 1,100 shillings
Yet
per
we still complain at the end.
Yeah?
Yet we still complain at the end.
Yes, and some countries like our neighbors, Rwanda, Tanzania, Burundi, all the others, the ones whose ballot cost the most is 160 shillings Kenya money. Our ballots are the most expensive in the world, and mainly because of the security features. Because if you don't put those ones, you'll have an MCA getting 1 million votes. Atalala ki photocopy the whole night. Whereas in other countries, a person would be like, no, let us do the right thing. So I don't think it's something I would look forward to. It's a place that we first need to change the way the masses think as we go into making Kenya the country we want it.
But it also speaks to a lot about our electoral process, that there are people who, even just by perception, they've turned this electoral process into an enterprise. That because every time someone is exiting the IEBC, it's because of procurement irregularities and discussions around that. What does it speak about? What does it say about our electoral process? It is simply to enrich a few people?
You see, if you look at our electoral process here entirely, right from the time we recruit or even put together the IEBC itself as an institution, to procurement, up to the point that we go into elections, you realize that as a nation, there's too much suspicion. But for the team that has an upper hand, will always be seen as if are doing to, what we say mtaani kupanga kazi. So I think it is because of that suspicion that you put people in IEBC that you can control, that you put people in IEBC who are going to issue tenders to your preferred, enterprises and all that kind of thing. If you listened to when we challenged the elections outcome of 2022, a lot of things came to light, including that the procurement process was not that, it was quite opaque, and the papers, the ballot papers could have been, increased in terms of numbers. As my colleague Fanyamambo is saying, the security features, including the coding, the numbers that we put on individual ballot papers, are supposed to prevent manipulation and to ensure that the results that we get at the end of the day are fair, transparent, and there's credibility. But we seem to, there's a lot of interest in controlling the entire process. Remember, election is not an event, it's actually a process. So when people raise eyebrows and when questions are asked, I can really understand. Because in the past, when we have contested elections outcome, a lot of things have been quoted, including the tendering process, how we procured either the ballot papers, the kits, and everything else. And that definitely is what leads to all these questions and all the cases that we get immediately after the pronunciation of the results.
Yes. It's not lost on us and to many Kenyans that the united opposition are among those who had demanded the exit of Marjan. And they even questioned the procurement or the technology that you're going to use next year. Do you feel that now they have what they wanted and now they would have more confidence in the electoral process?
As the panel has explained, election is a process. And therefore, I personally believe that Marjan, as a CEO, had no legal rights or moral rights to extend the contract of systematics to before the whole commission was constituted. And there was no need of that particular hurry. I would say we are not 100% comfortable until when that company is kicked out. And,
so that demand still stands, that Smartmatic has to go.
Of course.
Before next election.
We have seen the previous election that actually has been undertaken by that particular company in East Africa, both in Uganda and Tanzania, and we have seen it a mockery. And therefore, we can't have trust on that company. And therefore, we stand that that company has to be terminated. And a fresh tendering of another company has to be. That is our position. One, we would say the first step is already taken of removing Marjan. But number two is to kick out that company and make fraud new tenders and give us somebody else other than that systematic. Because he has proved that can only hold what we call a botched election. And that is what, as an opposition, we are saying, we are not standing to watch to see. Right. Number two, as we talk of this Marjan, remember Marjan was the one who took the powers of a commission to clear Kidiki to be a candidate of deputy president. Where did he get those powers from? Okay. And I would say that in time, if we have some kind of people in the office, it is people that we can't trust any longer. So the better he quit.
All right. The IEBC CEO, Hussein Marjan, has been sent packing with over a year left to his contract, following opposition pressure and internal investigations into procurement, voter registration, and secretariat efficiency ahead of next year's general election. It is a big story on the front page of the Daily Nation and on the front page of the Star. It is on the inside pages of the Standard as well. And this is a big discussion point this week, not just this morning, the exit of the IEBC Secretariat CEO. Time for us to take a break. When we return, we'll be including Dagoretti North MP, Beatrice Elachi. She'll be joining us on the panel as we continue these discussions, the return of Azimio. You're watching Morning Cafe.
time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget Tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet. So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. I say, man, that don't give you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Indemuli. As we continue our discussion, I'd like to welcome Dagoretti North MP Beatrice Elachi onto the panel. Karibu sana. You've missed a very important discussion about IEBC. I don't know if we'll get time to get you to talk about it, but I want us to move on to the other big one. You are a member of the Azimio. Yes, they talked about the IEBC. Yeah,
so it's okay.
So we're moving now to this discussion. Uhuru revives Azimio. What will Azimio be without ODM? That's one of the questions. And we can already see some feedback online. King Josh says, anyway, Kenyan politics is at times a big joke on the voters. So is this one of the jokes, the return of Azimio? Is it? This is what I want us to engage on right now. And probably we start with Madam Beatrice Elachi. The return of Azimio. I know your party has moved on. And you're now in preparations for a new coalition with UDA. How do you receive this kind of news? Now we're seeing a difference and a revival of the coalition that you had before you lost the elections in 2022.
Well, it's good. I am happy that the former president realizes there was something he didn't do right. So if he revives it and does it right, good. It gives him a good legacy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but for me, I think there are many things that need to be looked at internally. Very many things.
Within the Azimio framework?
Yes, yes. Because there are some things when you do, and as a team, you need to ask yourselves whether, I remember as women, we kept on telling them, why can't we just have Azimio? Why do we have to have inter-parties again coming in to compete on each other? It becomes very difficult when you have all, and that's why you lose. In fact, you lose many seats. So that when you bring back Azimio, bring it back this is what I'll advise. Look at the challenges. What made you lose? And work around it. And why would you wait to this year is when you think about it. You would have thought about it just after the elections, because a process of an election starts exactly when you finish that election. So in 2022, after that election, nobody was supposed to stay a whole year without going somewhere and sitting down and thrashing out step by step. Here, what happened? We had how many parties? This. How many performed? How many, why did these ones not perform? Why was it in this region and it never performed? All those questions. You can't tell me you're going to do it in this year when a member of parliament somewhere is already with another competitor fighting. I mean, not really fighting.
ODM was the biggest party in that coalition. Do you see it surviving without ODM?
It will survive. Why not? See, they believe they will survive. They have to survive. But ODM has to be their only thing. No. Now they have to prove. Yeah.
Right.
Whether ODM was better with them or not, let's let them prove. And as we will try our best to prove, ODM was ODM. Yeah.
All right. Fanyamambo, you are also a member of that coalition.
Yes, I was.
Yes, and seeing the return, or what they're calling a revival of this coalition that lost an election, historically, any coalition that has lost an election in Kenya has simply fizzled out. Seeing a return a year to the next polls, does it excite you?
To start with, I was in Azimio for the longest. And I supported BAMBA, and I continued to love BAMBA until he started working with William Ruto. That's why I always draw the line. In fact, I wonder what my good friend Beatrice Elachi is doing in a place where William Ruto is, because we worked so hard together in 2022 and we told Kenyans, William Ruto is not a good president for this country. How I can then come back and tell Kenyans that this guy is okay and we are moving forward with him is something I can't fathom. I remember speaking to Baba, may he rest in peace in Karen, some time ago, and I told him, look, Baba, some of us are the way we are because we've stood on principle. We have said yes when there's need to say yes, and we have said no when there's need to say no. I know you are going into government, and I can name 2, 3, 4 people, friends of mine, who actually did join this government. Some even became PSs, courtesy of that handshake between Baba and William Ruto. But I told Raila Amolo Odinga and the people who were going into that government, I am sorry, I am not of so much value, but there's one thing I will not do. I will not work with William Ruto. I think politics of principle is what we lack in this country, beyond everything else. We have to get to the point, I cannot be here telling everybody, oh, fulani, fulani, fulani. Then after a few months, munaniona, you will even think I'm mad. So for me, I have been very consistent in my narrative. And even now, Sai Munona Niko opposition. If even the last person, including my party leader, if everybody else was to go back to William Ruto, one guy who would be left outside there like a fool is Fanyamambo, because you have to stand for something. So Azimio la Umoja was good until our leader decided to work with William Ruto. And I have never fought Baba. I don't have a problem with him. The problem I have is the person he's working with. So now they are trying to revive Azimio la Umoja. And I'm asking myself, there was NASA, it died. There was CORD, it died. Azimio has come. Azimio must die. I think what we need to do is to just agree that moving forward in 2027, whom do we want to be our presidential candidate? And Kenyans are asking us, let us decide very early whether it's Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, or it's Matiang'i, or it's Fanyamambo, whoever it is we want to be a presidential candidate. And forget about these funny things and come up with something fresh.
Do you see the necessity of Azimio at this time? Because there was already a formation, the United Opposition. Why do you need... ODM has already exited. Do you see the need for having Azimio even revived?
No. From where I sit, it's confusion. Already we, and I can speak as a member of DCP, already we are warming up to the idea of having Kalonzo very close to our hearts. And of course we want Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to, because to a great extent, very many people listen to him in the mountain. So we can't wish him away. Na ni wetu pia tunampenda. But what we don't want is confusion.
Yes.
Tunaomba Uhuru akuje with fresh ideas. Aulize what works in 2026. And we respect him.
Okay.
Asikuje na ideas za 2022. Akuje aseme mimi kama Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, I've been on a break kidogo. I've come back. There's this united opposition. I want to be part of you. How can we configure a new way forward without bringing very old shenanigans of the past?
And increasingly, more and more people are getting confused by the actions of the former president. You are one of them. You are a member of Jubilee Party. Right now, I'm not so sure where you stand. But Do you feel confused by reading such a headline, the revival of Azimio, 1 year to elections?
No, not really. First of all, the party leader of my former party, Jubilee, is not a heavy lifter. And, but he is always at the center of things. And he will always pull cards, you know, and ensure things happen in a certain way. And that is exactly what he's trying to do right now. You know, ODM as a party, it was very, very strong when BAMBA was there. And without BAMBA, there's too much noise within the party. The remnants of ODM, the Sifunas, the Babus, those people who do not agree very much with the way the party is being led right now, I think that is what Uhuru is trying to reach out to. And he's trying to reach out to that, plus his party Jubilee, plus all these other people in the united opposition. But as I keep telling you, united opposition is equal to Rigathi Gachagua. And I think Uhuru has come to that realization. And therefore what he's trying to do is to ensure that he has a voice within that entire arrangement in the opposition, and he's the one who makes certain decisions. And not just certain decisions. You can see how excited Kinafanya Mambo gets every time he says certain things about DCP and about their party leader. I remember when he called us to Murang'a, and he whipped all of us and said, you know, do not attack the party leader, the DCP party leader. The DCP guys were very excited, you know. But then when he brought them together when he brought the united opposition for a second time recently, again, they have started bashing the Jubilee presidential candidate. So I think he's trying to manage all that noise because unless we want to pretend, there's too much division within the so-called united opposition. And I think now Uhuru feels that they need a big brother to come and sort this noise out and bring them to the table together with the remnant of ODM. To me, that's what I see. Right. Now, he's trying to play kingmaker, but where is he taking this entire group?
Right. Bwana Gakuya, you were never a member of the Azimio formation. In fact, you were in UDA. You're still a member of parliament of the UDA party. This might cause you some confusion, even within the united opposition. That's Uhuru Kenyatta, and I've seen even yesterday's headline on the Standard talked about attempts to reconcile Uhuru Kenyatta and your party leader, Rigathi Gachagua. Do you understand what exactly is happening? Or are you as confused as the rest of us?
First and foremost, Idimoni, personally and the whole fraternity of DCP, we have no space in Azimio. And even going forward, we cannot recognize it at all. And if we are going to make any formation forward, it should not be Azimio at all. That one we are going to reject it in totality. And I will tell you, this broad day, we cannot allow to be fixed to that particular cocoon. And there we are not going to, let me tell you, it is upon to Kalonzo Musyoka and whoever else in that particular fraternity of Azimio to decide whether to work outside or inside Azimio.
So this is just increasing the problems you already have.
I am telling you, this is a total confusion and we cannot buy the idea. Uhuru is taking us back to those old days where we cannot get back to. As a DCP, we cannot even dare to be part of Azimio at any single day. And the other big question is, we have a big battle of ODM. Which ODM are you bringing back to Azimio? The Oburu ODM faction or the Young Tax faction? And if the idea is to bring this young team to Azimio, why can't this young team look for an entity? And they join the other bigger fraternity of united opposition as an entity. We can't buy that idea of rubbish, and we cannot go that direction.
Wow. Yes, very strong words there. And trying to revive any coalition, that has already lost an election has never worked in Kenya. Do you see this as a miss?
Yes, I want to agree. You see, there's something my sister has said, which if somebody listens to, must understand what she's saying. A heavy lifter, yes. When you're not a heavy lifter, when you come in because you have resources, but you're not going to do the donkey work to look at it, because where it lost was not about anything else. It's about how do you do your strategy? How do you bring in a correct way of managing the whole teams? And that is the most difficult thing, I would tell you, my former president had, because why? He would wish to see things, yes, but there are so many teams that come up and they bring confusion. And all of them will say, I have been sent by the president, sent. That is where now an election goes to where you will not understand and you will lose that election. For me, the most important thing we should be saying here, and I appreciate that they met with the former deputy president. It is very important. But then, at the same time, I want to plead to my brother Fanyamambo, that in politics, I think one thing that BAMBA taught us, that there is no that enmity of such. It is interest. You never know tomorrow where your interest will be. So there's no need of, for now your interest says you don't need the president. That's okay. But always remember, even in where you're going to ask for the vote, people will tell you their interest. For now, they'll tell you we are here. But for the future, because one day you'll be a leader of Kenya, you have to look at all those interests. Nobody goes to anyone because they like them. No. We go for our interest. And if the interest of where we want to be as ODM will realign with this, definitely we will work with the person our interest goes with.
Okay.
And so you might feel it is wrong. In that region, it is not wrong. In Coast region, it is not wrong. In Western, it is not wrong. In Nyanza, it is not wrong. In Northeastern, it is not wrong. Always remember that they look at things, and that's why they stood with BAMBA. That's why when BAMBA said, this is the route, we might have our noise in Dimoli. But one thing BAMBA taught us, have noise. When you finish your noise, come back and listen to what the structures are talking. That's one thing I appreciate about ODM. That regardless of everything you see, the moment you see the structure has realigned itself, you will move with the structures, whether you like those the things, but you have realigned.
Okay.
That is the only thing that will help that party.
Even as you
to
respond to that, Fanyamambo, there's also the question of appointing Kalonzo Musyoka as a party leader of Azimio. And what he does to the united opposition, because many have talked about him being the most likely presidential candidate for that coalition. Now he's being appointed a leader of another party that has already failed from an election. And what does that, you talked about the prospects that Kalonzo has. What does that do to you?
I'll start from where Honorable Beatrice Elachi left. And I'll start by saying this big word interest sometimes is the most abused word in this country. What interests do we have as people, as politicians, as Kenyans? We want roads for our people. We want hospitals, we want schools, we want all those things. But I've always said, a person who has not killed children can build hospitals. A person who has not killed Gen Zs can build roads. A person who has not committed the atrocious things that this administration has committed can do all those things. Why do we have to work with the wrong people always and insisting our interests are taken care of? I mean, we have so many Kenyans who do not have terrible human rights records, and we can work with them. So if it's about interest, our interest is roads. Our interest is not the president. If it's about interest, our interest is hospitals. If it's about interest, our interest is the good for our people. And the goods for our people can be achieved. I keep telling Kenyans, why do you still have to go back to the people? And I feel it's like Stockholm syndrome, that the people who have abducted you, done bad things to you, treated you terribly, you are attracted to them and you even protect them, speak well of them, and even campaign for them. We are sick as a nation, and we need to come out of this Stockholm syndrome and get ourselves out of this thing of thinking that even if this person killed my brother, he has my interest at heart, so I have to work with him. No, it is possible to have your interests taken care of by someone who has not done atrocious things to you. Now, coming to the question of Kalonzo Musyoka, I've always made it very clear that we in the united opposition have always had him as one of the leading, if not the leading, contenders for the position of presidency. Our good friend Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we hate to fight you. In fact, if there's someone who does not want to be at loggerheads with you, is ourselves. And I'll tell you why. Anytime we in DCP fight with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we shall divide the mountain, and we want the mountain to be one solid block. So our plea to the former president is, please, before you pull your moves, can you listen to us? All we are asking for from him is that he comes and sits down with us before he does things like appointing Kalonzo to such a moribund outfit, because it's moribund, most of us have left it. And just come and listen to us and say, it doesn't hurt to consult, because we cannot move forward together unless we agree. So let it not be construed to appear like we are fighting Uhuru Kenyatta. No, we are not. We are just saying that his way of coming into this equation is a way that shows he has not consulted. Is a way that shows he has not listened to us. Is a way that shows that he's trying to bring his ideas onto us, which we are saying, wait a minute. Before you came, there is something we were doing. And now that you've come, you've created confusion in what we were doing. But we are still very open to a conversation. We are still very open to dialogue, and we still want to agree on a proper way forward. Otherwise, this thing is going to mess us up completely.
And now Uhuru Kenyatta, by doing this, he has two of the luminaries of the united opposition. Now he has Matiang'i, who belongs to his party Jubilee, and they did a restructuring of the leadership of that party. Now he has Kalonzo Musyoka as the party leader of Azimio. What does that do to the united opposition?
You know, it's actually throwing the entire, you know, the entity, the composition into deeper mess. Because I'll tell you this, as someone who was in Jubilee, and that is basically why I left Jubilee. You know, it's good to be honest. Because this confusion and entitlement by certain political figures that it is my way or the highway, you know, that people do the heavy lifting for you, and at some point you come and decide that you're going to throw everybody under the bus. That is where the problem is. Because even now, I can tell you for a fact, I have friends across the united opposition, in DCP, in Jubilee, in DAP, in all these political parties. There's discord, and that is a fact. Because, you know, the supporters of Fred Matiang'i now are asking themselves, we are like the de facto, you know, as far as Uhuru Kenyatta is concerned, they are the de facto, they're supposed to be the de facto beneficiaries of anything Uhuru. Now here is Uhuru, who goes behind their back and decides to bring Kalonzo back. And here is Kalonzo, okay, just some time back, I think it's last year, he claimed, actually proclaimed that Azimio is dead. And now you're bringing him back and making, you know, announcing that he's the chairman. For sure there was a meeting. Because I know the meeting happened.
They were in Nigeria together.
Yeah, but even after Nigeria, they did a meeting, not yesterday, but the other day, the day before yesterday. And all these changes are leading to something. I know, to me, I can actually predict the fears of one, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. The people in DCP, and there are many, they have been telling us that their presidential candidate is Kalonzo Musyoka. For him, from the Jubilee Party and from where he sits, he feels that his presidential candidate is Fred Matiang'i. He's trying to bring these two together. Then they can negotiate and agree who becomes the president and who becomes the deputy. The question is, now that both of them seem to be relying so much on the Mount Kenya vote, what is it for the people of Mount Kenya? Right. And that question even Fanyamambo cannot answer. Because there's a lot of flip-flopping that we are also learning as the young and upcoming politicians from the legacy politicians. Because at times they gag you, at times they ensure that you cannot express yourself freely. And I feel, you know, I know Fanyamambo very well. And he comes out very strongly when he's addressing issues. But what I see today, he's tiptoeing. And you know why he's tiptoeing? Because they don't want to annoy one, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. And it is going to cost them, by the way. Right. That is what happened to us in Azimio. I was one of the agents of BAMBA at Bomas. I and Beatrice Erachi here, Mheshimiwa, we were at Bomas, and we can tell you what happened there. We lost the election of the year 2022 out of pure mismanagement of election from the secretariat to the agents and everything else that followed.
Right.
So what is this that Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do differently? Number two, from what I saw in the press release, it is very clear that he wants DCP and all these other parties to join Azimio. Will they agree to fold and join Azimio?
Yet there's that meeting that was on the headlines yesterday, Bwana Gakuya, that there were attempts to broker a peace deal or reconciliation between Uhuru Kenyatta and his former friend, Rigathi Gachagua. Are you aware of such a meeting? Did it happen? Did it succeed? Because here you're speaking like this has also shocked you.
In fact, what I would say on the outset is that whether there will be a handshake between Uhuru and Gachagua will not change the position of Murima as of today. And let me tell you, a very simple arithmetic. We went to last election with Uhuru being the head of state, and we beat him 10-0 in Mount Kenya. So it is not today that we are going to seek his sympathy at all.
You don't even need a reconciliation between him and Gachagua.
Let me tell you, I stand here to speak my mind. Uhuru, we may need him because he has 13%. That 13% we may need to have the whole 100% in Murima. But let me tell you, in the new games that he's trying to play, we cannot buy those games. And politically, we are ahead of him. Yes, let me tell you, he is a retired officer. May he sit back and allow this team to move on with their own political arrangement. But if he thinks that he's the one to influence, we cannot buy that. And that will tell you on the daylight. Even if Gachagua, he tried to tell her to take us that direction, he'll go alone.
Wow.
I can tell you.
This definitely plays into what is happening on the other side. Beatrice Elachi, your party is very deep into a coalition building momentum with UDA. It is part of the stories covered here at TV47, which has caused some jitters. But when it comes to coalition building, do you think that ODM is doing it right? We've seen the demands recently. The chairperson talking about nusu ng'ombe, not nusu mkate now. That hiyo ng'ombe ikatwe katikati, kila mtu apatiwe yake. Yeah. On the other hand, we have the party leader saying that now they've changed tack. They're no longer going for the running mate position. Yeah. Even your party, appears a bit confused when it comes to negotiating for this coalition.
Well, you see, in a negotiation, you don't look at what we speak on those microphones. Yeah? In a negotiation, you go into a room and the document that comes out is what tells you you have negotiated. So, but you see, these are optics. You bring in what you feel for also people to feel, yes, as you go in, because there will be a win-win and a lose-lose. In the end, you have to win, give in for you to get to where you want to go. So for me, for now, whatever we say on our mics, it's for optics to make our people understand. Yes, we understand what we are going for. We understand we need this. But now when you get in, when you look at ODM, and I said, and that is one thing, that the uniqueness that we never used to see until Baba has left, that even when you're saying you're negotiating, remember, you'll have regions that have been very strong in ODM. They will want to negotiate for themselves. Mm-hmm. They will want to feel they're on that table. So even if you say 50-50, how it comes out and you realize this region of ODM has benefited this and this is when you'll know you have a 50-50 or this and this. Because it will not be just a negotiation the way we are. Definitely. And you can hear how those regions are very strong, as they say. Mm-hmm. You know, when you hear cost, they tell you, we will be on that table. We will negotiate this. So
not necessarily under ODM.
No, as ODM. But what we need to now, first of all, as ODM agree, that let us hear what the regions are crying for. What is this that is making them feel they must be on the table? Can you carry their agenda? If we say it is the party leader that is going to negotiate, he will carry the agenda of cost, the agenda, and within his team, he will have someone from Coast, he will have someone from Northeastern, he will have someone from Western Province, from the Maa community, because all of them have been there. But as I said, And maybe I'll continue saying it, because you will find what a person from our community will want is very different from what a Western person will be negotiating for. He will come in saying, I'm a minority. We've been minorities. We want this, this. Then they will change and say, sisi watu wa mifugo. You know, we have so many names. That's why I was telling Mama, the interest you might think is road, but when they come in with their words, you look at them and you wonder, okay, na sisi watu wa hivi. So there are many different things. But then the other thing we need to ask ourselves, for me, we already have a document which 1 year is about to lapse within this March. So first of all, carry this agenda. We already have an agenda that Baba put his signature. We must look at that agenda first. This political agenda is how you work in a coalition post. But there's pre here, which was our 10-point agenda, which we must sit down and evaluate this agenda, ask ourselves, from the time Baba left to now, have we been able to achieve 3 or 4? What about the 6? What is happening? There are some that are continuous. There are some that are not. We had the NADCO report. Can we put it on the table? This NADCO, the chair was also, at that time it was Azimio, isn't it? Kalonzo was there. There are some things I believe he believed in. I don't know whether he has left it now. When you're talking about IEBC, you know, I asked myself, when I looked at the recommendation we gave as Azimio, it's a very tough recommendation in terms of that election. And we said, the results this time around, that small polling center that gives you 200, 100 marks is final.
All right.
That was our recommendation. I don't know whether we still believe in it. I don't know whether we were doing it because of emotions. Now we want. So there are many things we have already done and passed through.
Okay.
It is important for ODM to clean those. And then you come into your coalition of 50-50.
All right.
That would be my opinion, though.
And the question, of course, is whether or not those will be that will be the main agenda when it comes to negotiating for spaces in this coalition. And of course, we continue questioning the veracity of the kind of deals we have.
Let me tell you, you see, the way we are talking now is not the way after the elections of 2027 will be. We must prove. You see, I don't want to come and pretend that politics is number.
Okay.
And the numbers will prove. And you never know in ODM whether the Coast region will perform more better than us maybe in Western. And they'll say, we gave the numbers, we need this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the feedback, especially on that discussion around Azimio, is Azimio a party or a coalition? Now that it's speculated, Musyoka is Azimio party leader. That is Sauti ya Rais Media. Someone else, Roger Sumbui, simply says Matiangi. I don't know what that means. Frederick Avoy says, but I said Uhuru is on a mission from a certain quarter. Uhuru every time visits to State House speaks volumes. Let Kalonzo follow Uhuru at his own risk. Jackson Mudhuri says, Gakuya, please come slow. Mambo kuja pole pole. All right. Still on that Azimio angle, Jared Kenya says it won't bear fruits. Exercise in futility. This is just part of the conversation. Although now we are turning the conversation to the ODM UDA coalition, but let me just sample even more feedback here. It is just a divide and rule tactic that will bear no fruit. Maureen Joroge. So many people are not seeing that Azimio return becoming fruitful. But we now want to consider the ODM UDA coalition, and thank you, Beatrice Elachi, for laying ground for that. I know that even the United Opposition was looking to capitalize on some of the weaknesses that they can already see. One of them was a demand by ODM that they were going for nothing less than the deputy or the running mate position come 2027. Now that conversation appears to be shifting. You believe that now, as far as ODM UDA coalition is concerned, that statement alone, that they are not going for the running mate position, could mean something different even for the United Opposition?
For a long time, this government used to speak 3 languages: English, Kiswahili, and a third language called lies. Now, today, ODM is speaking English, Kiswahili, and very eloquently, they are also speaking the third language called lies. and they are telling us in the face lies. They come and say that the 10-point agenda, one is inclusivity in all spheres of life. ODM wako anambia, 10-point agenda, inclusivity in all spheres of life. Let us talk about parastatal appointments. Some parastatals have got boards that can fluently speak their mother tongue. Everybody in that parastatal. There is no inclusivity. It's not happening. We are not seeing a change. Na wanatudanganya looking at us in the face that we are implementing the 10-point agenda. Protecting and strengthening devolution. Kuna governor anajenga apartment hapa, Parklands. na hiyo apartment anajenga, it's on a public land that has been a school, and everybody who was born and brought up in Parklands anaona yenyewe ilikuwa shule. This governor is dancing with the president all over the place. Nothing is happening. Is that how you protect devolution? Now, leadership and integrity. Where is leadership and integrity in this country? The other one they signed to, right to peaceful assembly. Tunapigwa tear gas kwa kanisa. On a Sunday, watoto wanapigwa na tear gas. A guy comes, he's shooting at windscreens, he's shooting at tires. We are told that we threw tear gas upon ourselves. Ile tear gas kwani Magunas wanauza tear gas. It's the only supermarket in Nyeri. Tulienda huko tukanunua tear gas. So these things they are telling us, look, national debt. This government is borrowing left, right and center. Juzi niliwaambiwa, we were given 30 billion by World Bank. It's on their official website. Go and look. To help us specifically in transitioning our children to grade 10. Ilikuwa ya uniform, ilikuwa ya vitabu, ilikuwa ya classroom expansion. It is on the World Bank website. Everybody, just Google. Even on Google, just say, Kenya given $180 million in December. In fact, World Bank is planning to give us another 38 billion to help us transition our children. And by the way, as we speak, our children are not going to school.
All right.
So this 10-point agenda is a lie. Now, fighting against corruption. The most corrupt leaders,
we'll come to continue with that because it's time for us to take a short break. Even as we consider now the UDA-ODM coalition, Fanyamambo says, he doesn't think the 10-point agenda is actually the real agenda. Probably the Ngombe Nusu is the real agenda. We'll continue this conversation after the break. You're watching Morning Cafe.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Wewe ni simple.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget Tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Pune.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. And I tell you, even during the break, the conversation here on Morning Cafe is even more interesting. We're going to do a behind-the-scenes one of these fine days to show you what exactly goes on. But now we're considering the ODM-UDA coalition. And remember, we're also asking you this question that we need your feedback on, and we'll be sampling that after we finish up with this UDA-ODM coalition discussion. It's about whether or not you're looking forward to re-electing your member of parliament come 2027, and why you think they deserve to be re-elected. Use social media pages, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. On X, it is TV47 Digital. Remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. The question is, will you re-elect your area MP? Point out the specific areas where you feel he or she has delivered. We have two of them here. Projects, legislation, or representation that make him or her undeserving of another term, or deserving for that matter. Hashtag deserving as well.
Undeserving.
It's for them to give us the feedback. Hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. But now, to set the stage on this ODM-UDA coalition discussion, part of the problem, the biggest jitters have been around the position of running mate. Bwana Kithure Kindiki, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President, says he's quite safe. Let's watch this story.
A day after ODM party leader Oburu Oginga said the party is not interested in the Deputy President's slot, the country's second in command, a confident Kithure Kindiki, allayed fears in his Meru support base that his position is under threat in the forthcoming pre-election coalition between UDA and ODM.
And I want to tell my brothers and sisters from home that I am in safe hands under the leadership of President William Ruto. He has made me feel appreciated.
The Meru delegation, led by Governor Isaac Mutuma, Senator Murungi Kathuri, and MPs, threw their weight behind Kindiki to help him retain his seat in the 2027 deal with ODM.
They should know one thing, ya kwamba tuko na rais na tuko na deputy president in the seat, and we are behind you, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, na sisi ODM ikinjipanga kuungana na wewe, sisi tukiwa community ya Meru, lazima tukushike mkono katika chama ya UDA.
Kindiki used the State House event to slam his critics, including his predecessor Rigathi Gachagua, who had called him a yes man.
I just want to encourage my brothers and sisters, don't be shaken by small criticisms. You know, you are not doing this, or you are yes people. That is normal.
President William Ruto consolidating his support ahead of next year's elections by meeting regional delegations. He is expected to meet more than 10,000 UDA aspirants at State House on Wednesday.
Because kuna watu wanasoma mambo kwa ground na wanajua hii serikali inaenda kuundwa mahali pale. You know, it's only a few people who cannot see where the government is going to be formed.
Apul Kamau, TV47.
If it was indeed a non-issue, then no one would be talking about it endlessly.
Ndimuli, I was on the floor.
Yes, but I want us to move out of that list that you're reading because of time. If you want to continue with this discussion about the Deputy President's position, probably I will allow you to continue.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. The NADCO report, which is one of the 10-point agenda, which they are lying to us they want to implement, was talking about creating positions of a of a prime cabinet secretary, as though that's a very important position to Kenyans who are hungry and going through a lot of problems, including not being able to take their children to school. And one of the 10-point agenda they keep telling us about is the NADCO report, which they want to implement. And then they are lying to Kithure Kindiki that your position is safe. And he's there, he's a professor of law. Why are you lying to a professor of law that your position is safe? And one of the things we are pushing in the 10-point agenda, in fact, number one, is NADCO, to create a very powerful prime minister. Then what does it do? It dilutes his position. And watu wa Meru wako hapo wana club state house. You know, sometimes being a professor does not necessarily confer upon you a lot of wisdom. confers upon you the education you've been through. Because then why is he in State House and clapping with people who are telling him they want to implement NADCO, whose main proposal is to create a prime minister who is even stronger than himself? So from where I sit, if they were not threatened by the united opposition, they would not be doing the things they are doing. Hata hii mkutano unaona wakifanya State House. They're having a State House meeting to bring their troops together. Why? Because they know if you place the UDA ticket right now here to a candidate in Mount Kenya and the DCP ticket and the Jubilee ticket, you will see a scramble for the DCP ticket. The UDA ticket, I don't know. Who wants it? Yeah, who wants it? What for?
The president is meeting 9,000 UDA aspirants at State House today, but even away from that, there's a lot of concern ahead, and you can see the groupings that are trooping to State House. There's real concern about this coalition building with ODM and the space that will be left for those people who've been within Kenya Kwanza and supporting William Ruto.
That's true, and it is expected right from the time this working arrangement, let me just call it working arrangement, under the BBG, between UDA and ODM. It is expected naturally that the people who support Professor Kithure Kindiki, we are not going to sit pretty and just make some assumptions that they are comfortable. But then we need to look at our politics and remind ourselves that in as much as our politics involve a lot of emotions, and ethnicity is key when it comes to that, it is not just the people of Meru who are concerned. I think the entire Mount Kenya region would be concerned if that position does not come back to Kithure Kindiki. But this is how I see it. President William Ruto does not seem to have a problem with Professor Kithure Kindiki. Why? Because they have some chemistry, which is not even political to me.
Yeah.
Even before Professor Kithure Kindiki became the deputy president, who was he to President William Ruto? He was his lawyer, including at the ICC and so many other things that they have done together. He seems comfortable, himself. In fact, at times I look at him and realize that even if the president asked him to step aside, he would honorably do that without drama. It is not a 50-50 power sharing arrangement that existed between the president and Rigathi Gachagua. So really there would not be, I don't expect there to be animosity in case that status is changed. Now, on whether the people of ODM are genuine, when they tell Professor Kithure Kindiki that hatukuji kiti yako, I don't think so. Because, the governor of Homa Bay, Gladys Wanga, she's really going for it. And I think she's coming from a point of confidence. You remember last year, the president said that Kenya is ripe for a female deputy president. And very many people started pointing fingers at Wanga. So again, this is an issue that can divide ODM even further, because the party leader Oburu is saying, we are not coming for your seat. But I think the women in ODM, including my friend Erachi, they don't mind. Yeah. They've seen an opportunity for women, not just for the party. Okay. Now, but then, going by what William Ruto experienced with Rigathi Gachagua, I think he may want to keep Kindiki. He may want a
safer bet.
It's a safer bet. Because Gladys Wanga, just like Rigathi Gachagua, is really pushy. So maybe...
Okay. But Agakuya, what's your take on that? Do you feel that this is something that would play into the hands of the united opposition, the selection of a running mate, or failure by William Ruto to go with Professor Kindiki?
Either way, I would assure you that Kindiki will tilt very little. He will tilt. Who is more stronger? Who holds more firm and the stronger position? Is it when Uhuru Kenyatta was the head of state, or is it Kindiki as a deputy president? Who holds the bigger position to convince Mountain? Remember, Uhuru came from where population is like freeze here in Kiambu. That is where the population started electorate over 1 million. And let me tell you, he was not even able to convince his homeland. And therefore, I would assure you, whether Kidiki is retained or not, it is not to change the mountain to its destiny. Okay. Number two, the arrangement and the alignment of political coalitions. I think William has every business to deal with where he thinks that he can cut cake. And for sure, he better bet with the Lake region. That's okay. But then he must be very ready to get a slice, not a whole cake in that Luanyasa. As much as the young taxes are not in his base, let me tell you, he still feels the dust. And this is for sure. And finally, Wanga and Oburu, at the tail end, I tend to buy the statement made by my panelists that there can be another more split at the tail end. There's no way that Oburu can speak for Wanga. Wanga, yesterday we have seen demonstration, people from backyard who are saying she is alive for the deputy president. And therefore, it is not a deal already a done deal. Okay. And therefore, negotiations are not yet complete. Yes. And I still believe that Wanga will demand for it. Yes. And if Buru is going to block it, then can the others start another break? Yes.
Can we really afford to ignore the sentiments of the chairperson of the party, Gladys Wanga, about 50-50 power sharing?
No, but there are many ways of the 50-50 power sharing.
Without the position in the presidency?
Well, let me say this, Ndimuli. You know, first I want to thank everyone, Afanya Mambo, for believing in ODM that we are supposed to be dealing with all these institutions he's speaking. I didn't know he trusts us that much. But I want to tell him these institutions must work. Senate must work to ensure if there's a governor who has something in Parklands, they deal with it. Not just Parklands. They should go back to the first Senate governors who have left. They have so many properties here. I see cows dying here. I'm wondering. People came out with all the money from Mandera, from Turkana. They are just roaming here in town. Some of them are even at State House. Deal with them. They did wrong. But then having said that, now let me come to ODM. You see, one of the things I respect about ODM is that while Wanga will speak as the chair, in the end she will respect what the party has said, not her. She will respect that. And if the party leader says that, it means if I was ODM, if I was me, to be asked, what we should be fighting for as ODM is to make sure you have numbers in parliament. Your numbers, retain your numbers. ODM, we must retain our numbers. That should be the agenda of 2027. These other things will come to fall in place when you have numbers. But if you don't have numbers, it will not fall in place. So the first thing we should be protecting, in fact, my 50-50 with the president should be any region that was of ODM, then we don't want to see a UDA candidate there. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
That issue of zoning is also a problem.
It's not a problem. It is one of the things. In fact, leave the rest but begin on that one.
Well, how will you conduct Nairobi then if you have
Nairobi, we will conduct with, see, we have DCP coming. See, we will deal with it.
Whose region would Nairobi be? Between ODM and UDA?
ODM.
So UDA stays out of Nairobi?
Oh, yes.
Completely?
Oh, yes.
Not even for the governor's position?
Well, that's why I'm saying those negotiations will come. If it is one, and we support the one, not you have this one there and this one here fighting. No. We will lose this. So if you want a UDA, fine. But a one, if we are in that coalition, should be one candidate who all of us will support. So we shall come and look at the numbers and ask ourselves, is this the numbers that should be the negotiations that we should have?
I'm telling you, I think this promises to be another discussion altogether. But
no,
we still have
and I'm telling ODM the truth.
Yes.
These things of fighting of 2027, forget.
Yeah.
The critical agenda is, are you on the table to push your people to the new dawn of Kenya of 2032?
Right.
That should be our thinking.
Away from
2032, where you are starting the country as 1963. Is these communities going to be on the table, or they will be in a 1963 agenda where we started zero and now we are fighting when we are 50 years plus?
And I can see everyone wants to respond to that, but unfortunately we don't have time because we asked the people a question about
for me, that is the main agenda.
Whether or not you can re-elect.
But we shall ensure NADCO,
yes,
Panyamambo, We shall ensure.
Thank you. Thank
Whether
you, Madam Elachi.
Baba said we shall have a prime minister, let
Thank
us
you for
have.
that.
You never know, it can come to save you also.
We asked a question, ladies and gentlemen, we asked you a question online, whether or not you will re-elect your member of parliament. Will you re-elect your area MP? And this will be your final comments. Point out the specific area where you feel he or she has not delivered projects, legislation, or representation that make him or her undeserving, or we may add, deserving of another term. Hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Bill James Etenyi says, Christopher Seka Wangaya, this man needs more than 5 terms in Wisero. Super MP, the best MP ever. We amepigiwa debe hapo. Bill James Etenyi. Aitwa Christopher Aseka Wangaya. All right, who else? Let's have some more feedback. Charles Busunkwi, Kuria East, Kitayama, Maisori, Nyumbani. Okay, this is as raw as it comes. Let's have another one. Then we get our panelists to respond as they give us their final words. Jokinda Jr., Didmas Barasa, Governor Tosha 2027, MP Honorable Abdulaziz Mulama, Direct. Nani mwingine? John Adagala, alisupport finance bill aende tu home. Ni nani huyo?
Nani huyo?
Sijajua nani huyo.
Sijajua huyo.
Kama ulisupport finance bill unafaa ujiulize hiyo swali. Gift Moses, Kiminini kuna MP kweli? By the way, who's the MP for Kiminini?
There is.
Oh, all right. So those are your feedback. And I'd like to engage you on that question. Some of you are aspirants, some of you are sitting members of parliament. According to the Speaker of the National Assembly, 56% of current members of parliament will not make it back. As you make your final comment, do you agree that, yes, this time around we're going to see a sweeping of the National Assembly?
It will be higher than 56%. I think what Kenyans are looking more beyond even putting up a classroom for them is, are you connecting with them? Is your boss the people or the president? And the bulk of these MPs may not lose their seats because they never built a classroom. I can tell you Kanini Kega had put up 400 kilometers of road at home before he was thrown out. I don't know why. But Kenyans look at, are we connecting?
Okay.
Because there are some MPs who say, my boss is the president. Kenyans want to hear, my boss is you guys. And what you people say is what I'll do. So if you're not connected to your people, you're going home.
Kathy.
And I think I'll proceed from where he left and ask who are the people. Because what sets in at a time around this time, a time like now, is euphoria and emotional manipulation like it has happened, whether you're talking about 1 term or 2 term. In fact, right now, as we speak, we are not discussing agenda. We are discussing personalities. And therefore, I do not see anything better coming out of this election. It is just going to be like 2022 or even worse. Because, and this is why I say so, I mean, as someone who comes from Mount Kenya region, the same people who were in Kenya Kwanza and UDA in 2022, while Fanyamambo and myself were in Azimio, are the same people in DCP. Who have they fronted so far? They have fronted people who are either equivalents of the people in parliament, the ones they are bashing, or worse. The last one. I know there's something you had, and very, very quickly, I know there's something you had mentioned in passing. There's a new DA aspirant forum happening in State House today, and I want, we all know that it is 10,000 people going there, and I do not speak for UDA. I don't even belong to that party. But this should actually be a wake-up call for the people in the united opposition or whatever form opposition we are talking about. Central itself alone has over 100 people going to state, and that is Murang'a, Kiambu, Nyeri. Right. Eastern, which would include now the Meru, Tharaka, and all that, has another group. Rift Valley. I mean, if we were to look at the people we speak for, my friend Fanyamambo and others speak for, and say, Sisi watu ya Murima, I'm sure they are Murima people attending this forum today. Why are they attending? If really we are saying that everybody is in the
on the prospects of re-election.
Very quickly. I have witnessed 3 candidates, and I can tell you for sure, it is true. In the last 2 previous calendars, the numbers were below 40%. Who secures their position back. But William played a very big role in the last election. And his he was able to build a battalion which he showed very well and which he nurtured very well. And out of that battalion, the last parliament was able to secure back over 60. But that was history. Today, he will be the cause of the battalion to lose, to get back less than 50%, less than that percent, because he has not done the correct promises he made to the people. But if William could have done his promises and delivered them, he would have secured still the battalion back. But the battle is too hot, too on the ground.
All right. Finally, Madam Elachi, on the prospects of re-election.
Well, for me, this is what I'll say today. Each of us go and listen and understand now the electorate. Let us ask ourselves, how do we help the electorate to understand why they will vote in leaders? Because you might say all these things. I will tell you, we will be shocked by this electorate. Where you think even where the president will not get votes, you can be shocked he might get more votes than you have never seen. Because I have said what? You are dealing with a president who understands strategy since 1997. Even for the ones who speak from Central, if it was not for him, surely, you think he would be in this parliament? You should even thank him that he was able to bring back leaders who will come to become leaders beyond. Because if it was for my former president, they would be going home. They were going home, all of them, honestly. So let us give him where the due is. For me, the most important thing, understand your electorate. Ask whether the roads and all these things, by the way, we do these things for legacy. Not for the...
Not for re-election.
No. For legacy. Now I'm going back to ask for a re-election. I will not be talking about these things. No, It's a very different game ball.
Thank you so much.
Go and do civic education.
There's a lot more
the
feedback.
Electorate to understand why
says,
we need
hell no, Koimburi had no visible impact on Juja residents, ni drama too. Manuela Isaac, Caleb Amisi, zero development, mdomo tu. Blogger wa Likuyani, Innocent Maino Mugabe, huyu ni more than 2 term. Patrick Politician, Caleb Amisi, home zero. Dismas Imana, I will elect the new one since the current one is contesting for governor. Well, true. Bonagakuya here might be going for another seat. Honorable Timothy Kipchumba Toroitich, 2 term. Evans Chiriot says Victor Kipngetich Koech Mandazi, 2nd term direct. He has kept almost 80% of what he had promised. And who else? Michael Mushira. Huyu tutachagua 30 years bila break, Jororok. Good girl anasema. Kamara Patrick Kasarani constituency, Bwana Ronald Karauri must go.
Survive.
Louis Ndege Kaberia, wacha nicheke tu. Jose Kipngetich undecided for now. Amoma Rex Risia 0, yani sufuri. Hata kujeleza tu kwa Kiswahili ni shida. Kazi yake ni mangumi tu, agonism. Chirchir Sirma, I will elect the new one since the current one has resorted to dancing everywhere with no developments. Well, that's your feedback, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I like them because they are talking about development. Yes. You should salute those electorates. Yeah. I appreciate them.
So a quick look at the headlines today. Uhuru revives Azimio. That's the standard. Allow me to just sample some of this. The Daily Nation and a copy of the Star. Daily Nation, how IEBC boss fatal seal. Kuna mtu alipoteza kazi jana. The Star goes on with the same story about how Hussein Marjan is no longer the CEO of the IEBC Secretariat. Thank you so much for your feedback, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to thank my panelists. Fanya Mambo Kinothia, who's a lawyer, also an aspiring member of parliament. Kathy Rungu, who's an aspiring member of parliament as well, and also a political commentator. We wish you well. And we have a sitting member of parliament for Embakasi North, Bwana James Gakuya, and of course, Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North. So do you think you're coming back?
I leave it to God.
You leave it to God.
The God of the people.
God and the people. Yeah. All right. After the break, we change conversation. Tunaenda tunauliza kuoga na kurudi soko. Yeah? Is it healing or a desperate comeback to it is a relationship Wednesday? So Ann Odida will be having this panel plus a councillor to discuss this. Kuoga, kurudi soko. All right. Do stand by for that. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Have a lovely morning.